And right now, troops are positioned in Texas, Arizona, and California. The Pentagon says the number of troops deployed could change realistically every day, depending on the need or the threat. News 5's Rob Quirk spoke to the experts and brings us this report.
While the numbers may vary and still weeks away from the U.S. border, an estimated 3,000 to 5,000 migrants in 2 or 3 separate caravans continue to trek north toward the U.S. border, presumably to seek asylum. But violence has erupted, attacking border agents with rocks and bottles as they tried to cross over from Guatemala to Mexico, and allegations that these caravans have been infiltrated with people who would bring harm to this country. President Trump calls it an invasion, a serious threat to our national security. I sat down one-on-one with retired Air Force General Gene Renuart, former commander at NORAD, to talk about this developing situation.
Do you believe that what we are seeing in terms of this migrant movement is a national security threat?
Well, I think security of your borders is always a national security threat. But I think it's also important to know that they do not have law enforcement authority. They are not in a position where they're
going to be making arrests.
Exactly,
and that sort of thing.
Exactly. They're in a very limited role to provide that backstop, that logistic support, to allow those agencies that do have that authority.
3, 4, 5. Right now, our troops are setting up barbed wire, securing border crossings, assisting in transportation, communication, logistics, medical support if needed. But in the case of Northern Command, keeping an eye from the sky. Nothing really unusual from their normal day-to-day responsibilities.
So it allows the CBP to really extend the borders a good bit so that they can monitor large areas of the border that they can't necessarily always patrol.
But the size of this force, over 5,000 active duty, ready to go right now, with President Trump saying it could grow to 15,000. I asked the general, really? A force comparable to our troop strength in Afghanistan?
I think it's a little larger than what we've seen in the past. It does take a number of people. And again, this is really done to extend the range, if you will, of our law enforcement agencies who have the responsibility for really the execution of the border security.
And do people need to understand that we're not standing at the border rifles cocked and ready to go?
No, we have very clear rules of engagement. The law enforcement have a very different role and different authorities, but our Title 10 U.S. military deployed have very clear guidelines on what they are and are not able or allowed to do. And I have no doubt at all that they'll exercise that with I think, great care.
Critics of the president call this a political stunt, fear-mongering, as the move came just prior to the midterm election. General Renuart not commenting on the politics of all this, rather the prerogative of the president, the commander-in-chief.
You always want to make sure you've got the most aid in place early, and if you don't need it, then you bring it home.
And that deployment includes Fort Carson troops and assistance from Northern Command at Peterson Air Force Base.